When we talk about celebrities and love, it can be a polarizing issue. For some fans, parasocial relationships, often perpetuated online to facilitate and maintain popularity, effectively make arguments for an idol, an actor, or a celebrity living a life of abject celibacy. They must be married to the job, to the fans, and never seek out lasting emotional relationships with someone else on an individual level. These justifications are usually touted to defend such a stance, leaving artists dangling on the edge of the proverbial cliff between living their lives and living up to the world's expectations. Hello, hello, my lovelies. This is Nini, and you're watching my channel. Today, we'll be discussing Top Form, a 2025 live action adaptation of the Japanese manga Dakaichi. Help! I'm being harassed by the sexiest man alive! A BL narrative that focuses on a singular story pitting the emotional relationships between a seasoned actor and a newbie against the entertainment world and the expectations and limitations often forced upon those who garner even the smallest modicum of popularity. Many fans, scholars, and experts have expounded on the intricacies and interpersonal nuances of living a life in the public eye, arguing the pros, the cons, and the pitfalls of expectations versus what can effectively be achieved and how best to navigate it. For years, entertainers of all stripes have had to balance on that razor thin line between celebrity and privacy, popularity and normalcy, and the future versus the here and now, fighting instincts, wants, and needs, all in hopes of finding an equilibrium that will allow them to have a successful, fulfilling career and a private life full of understanding, happiness, and love. The BL genre is no stranger to exploring the exponentially dramatic conundrum of navigating the life of a celebrity, the hurdles one often goes through to find true love while the whole world is watching. Boys love shows like To My Star, Lovely Writer, Love Stage, Be Mine Superstar, and many others tackle storylines that often revolve around the life of an idol actor or singer and their interpersonal interactions with usually a quote unquote normal person, a nobody without any effective notoriety who just wants to follow their heart. Such storylines often focus on the build-up of their unlikely meeting and romance, showing them an ideal little sliver of life, well loved, only to pull the rug out from underneath them and their secret becomes known. For some shows, the couple fights back, daring to demand from the world their right to be a regular person in their private lives, while other shows portray how badly it really can get in real life, ending in a breakup and a life lived with regrets. And Top Form is no different. The plot. The plot of Top Form, if you want to call it that, isn't as deep as it may seem. On the surface, it's a simplistic story about two actors who secretly fall in love and must deal with the consequences of that love. In a society wherein celebrity limits freedom and queerness is often seen as a bridge too far. Akin's status in the industry is that of a well-known and highly popular actor. He's practically a household name with endorsement deals for some of the country's most luxurious brands and the face of projects that have garnered the attention of the elite and ordinary alike. He's at the top of his game, the most sought-after actor, and has won many prestigious awards, including the title of the sexiest man alive for many consecutive years. There is nothing he can't do, no obstacle or difficult role he can't handle, and all eyes are on him. However, not everything is sunshine and roses for Akin. He's very aware of his fragile place in the entertainment world. While he still carries a dubious amount of confidence and even conceitful attitude at times, born from this success, he knows full well that his life is balanced on the razor's edge. Any perceived fall, any misstep, or misplaced word or action could easily destroy the house of cards from which he sits. Knowing this, Akin actively guards himself rigorously and avoids any instance that may lead to his downfall, including creating lasting and meaningful relationships with would-be friends and rejecting the possibility of love in every shape and way imaginable. Conversely, Jin is in every way an industry newbie. Having never really wanted to get into acting initially, he was seemingly recruited by a chance meeting. Untrained and inexperienced, his career begins in fits and starts. Not quite an actor who could garner the industry's or fans' attention, he plugs along and tries his best at the small roles he manages to get, going with the flow as he saw fit, in hopes of not disappointing those who had seen his potential too much. That all changes when he meets Akin. Incredibly drawn to Akin at their first meeting, Jin immediately feels inspired and motivated to become the best actor he can. His goals, no longer wayward, become the hope of winning over Akin. not only for the accolade of earning his respect as an actor, becoming someone worthy enough to stand by his side as a professional peer, but also as someone worthy enough to gain a kin's trust and love. From these two distinct viewpoints, our story begins as Jin, playing a secondary character on a new show, meets a kin. The first interaction is brief and seemingly innocuous for a kin, but for Jin, it becomes life-changing. Like a fan finally meeting their bias for the first time, Jin is awestruck by Kin's beauty and subsequently his talent. After an incident on set where Jin finds it difficult to perform an emotionally difficult scene and Ken mentors him to perform flawlessly, Jin becomes determined to improve his acting abilities enough to compete on the same level as Ken. While this seems counterintuitive to become competitive in their professional lives to facilitate a romantic relationship later, his determination to succeed eventually comes to fruition, and Jin lands a co-starring role in an upcoming drama of opposite Akin. This is where the romance truly starts as their relationship deepens, the more and more as they interact on and off set. While Akin is not initially aware that Jin is actively pursuing him romantically, he slowly realizes that there is something more to the newbie who often follows him around like a little lost puppy. Jin, however, is not duplicitous in his attempt to persuade Akin and is genuinely interested in him without any questionable motivation. He genuinely has feelings for Akin and is perfectly content, at least for a time, just being around him. But as they grow closer, the desire to be more than just close motivates Jin to take their relationship one step further and another step forward until Akin's feelings for Jin grow into something more than just castmates or friends. The conflict. Finally, on the same page, the two admit their feelings for each other and start secretly dating. As they begin to navigate the complexities of their feelings for each other and the relationship together, they find themselves having to balance their private life with their professional lives. This means they can no longer avoid the proverbial elephant in the room, the price of celebrity, and the consequences of being discovered. Our two main characters, Jin and Akin, navigate these complexities differently. For Akin, the oldest of the pair, his decades-long experience in the entertainment industry has made him acutely aware of the dangers of falling in love with anyone. He knows how the system works, how manipulative and authoritarian the industry and its fans can be, and how catastrophic the consequences will be if such a quote-unquote scandal comes to light. He's seen it in his own life, how other actors and friends have had their reputations ruined by rumors, their lives upended by conspiracy, and their careers shattered by scandal. Conversely, Jin, the more carefree, inexperienced, and younger of the two, becomes so wrapped up in his feelings for Akin that, while keenly aware of the possible trouble and backlash their relationship will cause, he is more obsessed with being in love than focusing on how to protect them both. His almost nonchalant and flippant attitude, his choices to actively avoid what seems inevitable, and his lack of concern show a naivete that is both understandable and concerning. These conflicting points of view bring a fundamental issue inherent in both Jin and Akin's perspectives on life to the fore. While the latter is initially and continuously wary of the potential fallout, the former realizes the importance of Akin's inherent caution over time. As more and more incidents come to life under the unwavering eye of the public at large, the importance of conveying a unified front where both of them are on the same page and have the same goal becomes paramount, thus testing the limits of their love and trust in one another. As all dramas do, these obstacles become not only the driving force behind their interpersonal conflicts, but also stepping stones in the progression of their relationship. The narrative. On its face, the narrative and top form's progression follows the stereotypical vision of both a celebrity romance and a secret relationship trope, where it is obviously quote unquote necessary to keep the romantic entanglements under wraps due to the looming threat of what exposure could mean for their current status in the entertainment world. These two tropes have been paired endlessly over years within a myriad of media forms and often only hold the slightest nuances to set them apart. However, with each addition to the zeitgeist of the ever-growing shows and movies focusing on these particular tropes, they incite even more discourse on both their effectiveness in storytelling and their meta-commentary on the real world. You could argue that these tropes also throw a wink and a nod in the general direction of shipping culture and its problematic implications and actualizations in our contemporary media, but in every capacity, the arguments often touted for or against such commentary are more nuanced than straightforward. The main purpose of the celebrity romance trope, paired with the secret romance trope, is to explore what it could be like in such situations, to bring to light what can and does happen in the real world to very real people, how those involved can navigate such complexities, and ultimately how they can persevere through it all with their relationship still intact, all while highlighting the cruelty and true to life actions and decisions made by those who oppose them, be they industry executives hell bent on protecting their living commodities and profit margins, or the fans that claim to love them and want them all to themselves out of their own selfishness and greed. For that is what it truly boils down to: greed. Industry leaders bank on the popularity of their talent. They invest millions of dollars and thousands upon thousands of man hours in cultivating, propagating, and perpetuating the efficacy and viability of their human products in hopes of commodifying them as a source of income that only increases over time. In comparison, fans of said celebrities become the yang to the yin of said goals. Their feelings can range from adoration and a genuine place of respect and love to an overly obsessive and possessive drive to secure a tangible bond between themselves and the objects of their affection. So much so that their motivations fall into the form of a personal connection that seems or feels so real that there is no doubt it exists despite reality. It is this assumed bond of solidarity and implied mutual affection that facilitates the industry's ability to consistently capitalize on the fallacy they themselves have created, thus effectuating the inherent duality of celebrity, the problematic natures of both parasocial relationships and the integration of celebrities' importance in every aspect of everyday life, versus the desire of those in power to exploit both celebrities and their fans and capitalize on that mirage of a bond for profit. Implications. And there's the rub, the crux of the argument, and the point from which all the drama in top form really stems: to incite the audience into begging the question, why can't they just love who they want to love and be happy together? While juxtaposing that sentimentality with the reality that fans inadvertently exacerbate this conundrum time and time again. It's this emotional weight that makes the story compelling and poignant in ways that, on the surface, seems so far removed from a show that's meant to be quote unquote endearing, a moving love story, where, spoilers, they get their happy ending despite the villain's desire to keep them permanently under their control. Yet the lasting implications of such an outcome are that, more times than not, such endings become mere fantasy rather than reality. Not because it's just part and parcel of celebrity life, but because we as fans allow such destined tragedies to happen again and again. There is no shortage of examples wherein this is less true than in the entertainment industry as a whole. For decades, fans have been inundated with everything from overblown dating scandals to tried and true adjudicated cases of misconduct, malfeasance, and criminality, all in pursuit of one extreme or the other, be it being blacklisted because a celebrity dared to have a private life, or an executive leveraging their power over their talent to force them into positions of an exploitative nature. There is no line that has not been crossed many times before. And yet, sadly, it's the fans who are seemingly just as complicit in such manipulations and condemnations as those who orchestrate them. Audience allows themselves to be fed a fantasy. We fall for it, hook, line, and sinker, and when drama erupts, we are at the forefront of it all, waiting on bated breath just to see what will happen and what truths will be discovered, all while adding our 2 cents into a conversation that ostensibly we have nothing to do with. The demise. When Top Form was officially released for streaming, its popularity was undeniable. Fans latched onto the characters and subsequently the ship of Smart and Boom. The producers, actors, and fans practically reveled in the realization that they had created a masterpiece of form and function, garnering attention unlike other BL dramas currently on the market. Riding high, many had great hopes for Smart and Boom's dynamic, seemingly genuine chemistry and marketability. So much so that everyone involved expected and looked forward to what was sure to be a seemingly epic new pairing set on taking the industry by storm. But as often happens, such greatness faltered, just like so many celebrity relationships have done. When the news spread that there were internal issues between Smart, Boom, the producers, and their management, fans were on edge, knowing the dangers of conflicting ideologies and how quickly a ship could sink because of the simplest of disagreements. Many fans were justifiably concerned, and many more were quick to condemn whoever was seemingly at fault without any attempts to hear both sides. Rumors proliferated and consumed the BL fandom like an uncontrollable wildfire, and accusations were thrown in every direction, all while Smart and Boom turned into targets for all that ire. And in the end, the ship sank, ties were cut, and the industry lost a CP that had the potential to be one of the most influential acting pairs created in the last decade. Now, I won't argue the points of whether or not branded CPs are a good thing or a bad thing. This is not that kind of video. But there is something to be said about the cost of celebrity. How SmartBoom's downfall as a branded pair speaks to the inherent issues regarding the lines between professional and personal. How fans inadvertently can ruin a CP or a brand without even realizing it. And how all that mirrors so many of the horror stories and lived experiences that have come before. Celebrities suffer in silence oftentimes, but when we see it right in front of our faces, it's hard to acknowledge the fact that we may have had something to do with it all. It is a shame that we lost Smart and Boom, but I do hope that the fans take this as an example of what to look for in their own behaviors as they continue to venture through the fandom. Remember, they aren't commodities, they're real people. And celebrities suffer because they're celebrities. It's up to us as fans of BL or any consumers of entertainment in general to take the time to realize that sometimes our actions affect others when it doesn't seem like it should. Who are we? We're just one fan, but collectively we can do serious damage. I really hope that the fandom takes Smart Boom's unfortunate downfall and internalizes that and tries to do better. Because we want them to succeed. We want our shows. We want to see men in love, having a good time, having a little bit of conflict, and get a happy ending. And we want the actors that we love and adore to be on screen. So remember, even though being a celebrity can be a sticky situation, with enough support and the right support, they can get through anything.